Welcome to another episode of HCP Visits. Here's your host, Woody Watts.
Hello, this is Woody Watts with another episode of HCP Visits. And this is a behind the scenes of one of our most recent road trips to interview someone who has witnessed and survived 3 alien abductions. And I have on my show today the lovely, talented Laura Watts.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you again, honey, for being on this show, because it is important, because you went with me for this adventure. We're going to give a little context, but you were there right by my side the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And definitely enjoy that. I love that you invite me to ride along. I think it's one of the most exciting things I get to do in my life.
So let me tell you a little bit about it. It is now available on our website and YouTube channel. We do like a video series. We just call it interview files, where it's just a raw interview of someone that's willing to share their story. And so this particular one, to give you a little background, I went to Craigslist one night. And first of all, I was like, hey, honey, I'm going to post an ad on Craigslist. And she's like, oh, you sure you want to do that? Well, I posted on there. Have you seen, Bigfoot, UFO, ghost, gave a good description.
I was concerned, but I actually thought it was a good idea.
Right?
I mean, you can find all kinds of people on Craigslist.
You certainly can. And I'm going to do an episode on the odd and awkward responses that I got.
I'm so excited.
That will have to be a censored episode, because some of them are not family friendly. However,
oh no!
Oh my gosh!
Really?
They were all over the place. I'm
what
telling
do you mean?
Yeah, I'll let you read. I can't read it. All right. So
yeah,
I put an ad on Craigslist, and a gentleman reached out to me, and his only response at the time was, "I've had a UFO experience." Well, that was like one of the first legitimate responses that I got. So I was pumped.
Yeah,
so,
but how do you know? Like, how do you know?
I didn't know.
You don't.
I didn't.
But you are going to respond to everyone who...
I'm going to respond. Well, let me say this. I did not respond to some of them because some of them did not warrant responses.
Gotcha.
However, if anyone, you can just kind of, like, I had a UFO experience. Okay. And then so I reached back out to him, emailed, and we emailed several times back and forth. And he gave me just a brief backstory on his experience, that he had been abducted several times, had seen UFOs, that he had been in the Army, and he was clear. He had no mental he told me this stuff. Like, he wanted me to know that he had physical checkups and that doctors couldn't explain blah blah blah. So I took that as, okay, this guy is legitimate. We're going into a legitimate interview. Okay. So we set up a date. Okay. Yeah. So we set up a date, and then that's when I told you, hey, we're going to Luray, Virginia, which is about a 2.5 hour drive for us. Yeah. But it's beautiful country.
Mountains for days.
Oh, it's where the caverns are, and it's just, it's wonderful. So I didn't know the whole story before we went. And if you watch the video, which I encourage you to do, watch his interview, and we're going to do more with his footage. However, it was just such an interesting story. I got back and I had to get it out there, because he had never shared it before.
Right.
So to walk you through the events, I put the ad on Craigslist. His was one of the responses. We set up a data film. So we go up there, and mind you, it was equally as exciting as it was scary.
Right.
Right? Am I wrong?
No, because I think even after you started talking to me about, hey, don't make any plans on Monday, we're going to ride and see this guy, I kind of asked him, should we maybe consider bringing someone else? Are you good with just me? And you were like, yeah, because you have a phone and you can call someone if something goes down or something, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And I think we are trusting people by nature, Woody and I both, but I think we also know we don't approach anything without having, a plan. And the plan was make sure people know where we're going, make sure people know what time we're getting there, make sure people know. And not only that, one of us hangs back a little bit without, giving too much of our experience to bore you, but it's just like we both know we have a plan every time we do anything together outside of normal everyday things. So, terrifying. Terrifying to go 2 hours away.
Exciting, scared. But I mean, each time we do an investigation or something, we do learn a little bit more in how to be better prepared the next time.
Because Woody is not reckless, right?
No,
You're not.
I'm not going to be like, hey, let's go.
You're not careless.
No.
You're not reckless. So for me, I'm like, here we go. Let's do this. But my first impression of this, and I'll let Woody tell a lot more, was, okay, we're going to meet this guy in a public place, which was great. It wasn't like we were going to his home or we were going to, the woods. We were actually going to meet him somewhere in public. And that I thought was smart on both of their parts. You could tell this guy was also smart enough to know, hey, these random people who put an ad on Craigslist, let's see if they're legit as well. So
Yeah.
I felt great right off the bat.
Because you never really know. And so we lined it up. He gave me an address. We met at a public place. And first impressions are, I mean, honestly, fairly quickly what type of vibe a person has. And I was instantly relieved because he pulled up and Robin
He didn't just pull up.
If Robin's listening to this, you are awesome, man.
I mean,
because
the music pulled up.
He texted me. I knew I was
before
in
he
for a
did.
treat. He was like, look for a bald guy in a pretty blue truck playing loud music. And I was instantly like, okay, I'm really looking forward to this. And then when we met him, it was like, I was so excited. I remember because we met at this place and then we were going to drive to another place, right? Like more secluded, more by a river. And then like he pulled up and he was like, all right, let's go. And then I looked over at Laura and I was like, yes, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get the camera out because the camera's going to love this guy. Like he's got personality and he was just fun.
Yeah.
And so like he pulls up, he's playing Rosetta Stone by Tool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's like the most awesome. It's like when you think of something in your mind, like, what's this going to be like? Am I going to we're going to drive 2.5 hours and it's going to be a 2-minute interview. And then we're like, okay, we're home by lunch. Or is this going to be like, because I love meeting people. Mm-hmm. I love meeting characters. Like, not to say he's a character, but like personalities. That's a good word. I love meeting personalities. And so he's playing that. And we go down. We leave from there, we follow him, and we're going further up into the woods. And I was like, oh, okay. Every red flag that should go up did not go up.
No.
Like for me, I was just like, okay, let's go. He's going deeper in the woods. I don't care. Let's follow him. Let's go. So we find a boat ramp and he pulls up and it's right by the river. It's beautiful location, right? Beautiful location.
Yeah. Really pretty.
And then he gets out and then we just instantly, I think, I haven't really talked to you about this, but instantly I felt at ease. Like I was like, oh, he's cool. He's fine.
I knew you felt fine because you weren't putting walls up for me.
Yeah.
You usually are like, stay in the car. You got your phone. You were more like, you want to hold this camera while I hold this camera? And I was like, sure. So I ended up being B-roll, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So you kind of get a vibe off somebody. And one of the things is that he was so gracious to do the interview because we believe, that's why, because really when I reach out to people or I put an ad out, it is not just give me your story. It's like, we are genuinely intrigued.
Yeah.
And we want to hear it. And we have both had experiences in different areas.
Yeah.
And some of them we've had them in the same areas.
Right.
Now, and you can listen to some of our other episodes and hear, some of those experiences. But so we do believe. So when we're talking to people and interviewing, it's because 1, I want to hear the story.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely want to hear it. 2, I want to meet you and I want you to feel comfortable enough to tell us that story because he had never told the story on camera or anything before. So
wasn't he weary at first?
He
to
was.
even be filmed?
He was, because he didn't know, like he wanted to know where it was going to go, which I completely agree. And
Definitely.
I encourage people to ask because you don't know the purpose of it. And then, so I always try to send links to our site, to other videos, so people kind of get an idea of what we're about, what we're doing, like, what our plans are for and you'll find out in this podcast, it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty uncut.
Yeah.
Like the interviews are uncut, and like the haunted hotline, I don't really edit. I add to them. I do
Right.
not edit down.
Yeah.
So it's I really want the stories to come out. So he, when we get out the vehicles and we shake hands, and it's just instantly I'm like, okay, this guy is cool. And I had already, like, as a believer, and for somebody to put their trust in you for their story, it's like you feel that.
Yeah.
Like I felt when he got out the truck, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we trust each other. We've gotten this far. Okay, we're good to go. And then we start filming. Well, we start talking right away.
Right.
And I instantly want to start filming this guy, Robin. Like, he is just amazing. I hope he listens to this and just knows that he absolutely made our day. He was a joy to talk to. And,
He really was.
And so once he started talking, and again, if you haven't seen the video, watch it, because this is the first time he's really shared his story. And
incredible story, by the way.
Incredible. Like, go watch that interview, because he had multiple experiences. Like, I'm talking like he has seen things.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was actually abducted several times. And we had a discussion on the way home, and we'll get to that a little bit later, about, okay, so say you are skeptical of anything paranormal, right? If you have not had an experience.
Right.
Right. Which we have. So we are not as skeptical as some are. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know, because like I've seen a UFO. I swear it's a UFO. I swear it was.
Yeah.
It was absolutely real to me. You have too. And you've
Yeah.
had paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
Absolutely real. Right.
Right.
So listening to his story, and as a believer, you take it as this is real.
Right.
Like, this really happened to him. Or he feels it happened, but it really happened to him. Like, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
And the details that he goes into, I have not been able to shake the details since, because first of all, I had an experience when I was 14 with a UFO. Well, I mean, I saw a UFO, not technically an actual experience. Saw a UFO, lights in the sky. All of a sudden, it takes off at a fast speed, then goes just it just disappears. And I had not told him that story yet. So he starts his story, and his description is the exact same as mine was. Okay, so instantly I'm like, okay, well, this is pretty cool. Like, this is not completely different than my experience. So maybe, just maybe, everybody out there with experiences, they're all kind of alike. Yeah, we're all on the same page here. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of goes into details about seeing a UFO, and then feeling transported, and then being on a metal table. And then describing the aliens in detail, like how they were not little.
Right.
They were over 6 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Their eyes looked like, the way he described it, like a ton of,
almost like fly-like or
yeah,
spider-like.
like a bunch of TV screens,
Yeah.
or like mirrors or something.
Faceted, yeah.
And they clicked for a language. And then they had like flippers for hands. And to hear him talk about this, like, I'm listening to him, and I can't really say anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is amazing. Because then we get to the point in the story where it just sunk in, right?
Yeah.
So the second abduction, I believe, the next day he woke up extremely tired, like he had ran a marathon or something, like he had worked all day. And then he was at the pool or something, and his sister asked him what happened to his back. And he was in high school, like freshman in high school, 9th grade or something like that. And he had a scar on his back.
But if we could even describe it like this.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, of course, when you have a female standing there and you got two guys talking, and he pulls up this shirt, there's a vulnerability. There's a I'm feeling exposed. This guy, he didn't have any of that. He was so gracious enough to be like, hey, look, here it is. And I approached him with, are you comfortable with me, touching it.
Yeah.
And I know.
Well, like
and-
you're intrigued.
yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, it's not often that you have a person
Right.
that's like,
So it's about kidney yay high, I would say, where your kidney
Yeah.
would be maybe a little bit higher. It's sort of on the right side of his back, lower, and I am telling you, it's not a scar so much as a mark.
yeah,
It was like almost as if it were like a birthmark, but a completely different color than usual normal Caucasian birthmarks look like. And I asked him if it would be okay if I just sort of touched it, and he was like, sure, go ahead. You know, very, very just sweet. And so I remember I was like, all right, I'm going to go for it. And so I touched the spot where it was, thinking I would feel what a scar would feel like, you know, raised or sunken, something. It was as if I closed my eyes, I was still feeling skin. It was not, there was no boundary, I guess you could say. There was no texture to it that was different than normal skin. And the two spots he talks about, if you look very, very closely and sort of zoom in, if you will, you'll see these two grayish purple dots. And this is what he has said doctors can't explain. You know, he's been to several, one of which was overseas when he was in Germany. He sought a German physician who couldn't explain what that would come from, where, and his mom said something, did you get burned or what happened to you? And both his mother and sister were just mortified about what could have happened. And
like,
so,
do you have cancer? Should we get this checked?
so he
Or,
did.
like,
He went to get it checked for cancer, and sure enough, doctors were like, not cancerous.
Nope.
This is not melanoma.
we don't know what it came
We
from.
don't know what this is, and we can't compare it to anything that they have seen before, which I think is just extremely interesting.
Oh, well, I mean, all right, so he's telling the story, he pulls up his shirt, and we're just like, at that point, I'm like, oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because like and I'm talking like in high school, this scar just appeared after this experience. Okay. And how old is he now? 40s, 50s, late 40s, early 50s. And he has had it ever since.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, think about that, right? So this guy, legitimate UFO experiences. He woke up the next day tired. Several days later, his sister looks at his back. He doesn't know he has the scar because he can't feel it.
Right. He can't see it either.
It's not, it's like right in the middle of his back. And then he's exhausted when he wakes up. And then he showed us the scar, and I instantly got chills because I'm like, all right, so you actually have legitimate proof. This is not like grainy Bigfoot pictures.
Yeah.
This is like legitimate, like I had an experience. I felt I was here. Someone else saw this, and he went to doctors, and people have taken pictures and sent to other doctors, and no one can figure out what this is from. Well, then we take it a step further later in his story. He starts talking about the scars on his arm, and then I think his mother actually brought it up, where they found they have scars in the exact same places on his arm as his mother does. And then his daughter does, that they were not born with.
Right.
His daughter was not born with these because he made it a point to check her after he discovered this. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, hey, you got scar. Like, okay, it's the same distance from your elbow as your mom has on her, and then you check your daughter, and she has it. And so, towards the end of the interview, he started to express what his beliefs were about the experience, and that he was being checked on. And this makes complete sense because through his experiences, if he was tested and I'm talking like the experiences happen gaps, like there's gaps. So it's like high school and then army and then adult, like out of army adult. So it's not like it's like within a week. Right. So the last experience was he was actually with his friend in the car, and they were traveling in the same area that we were filming the other day. Now, this was not the same area where he had been abducted, He had been abducted in Philadelphia and then I believe in Germany or something like that. And he actually saw a craft come to his windshield. He was going 60, 70 miles an hour. And then the UFO hovered in front of his windshield and kind of tracked him, kind of kept pace with him at 70 miles an hour. And he felt as if it was that he was being watched or looked after, And then after that, the last experience was a friend of his in the Army, which was his best friend, had passed away. And then came to Robin in a dream. Robin is the guy with the alien abduction stories. Came to him in a dream and told him that they're watching. That
wow.
they're always watching, and then took him to a room that had monitors, like he was talking feet in the air, like, hundreds of TV screens and monitors, like, and that his friend Chuck told him they're watching. And so after, like, Robin, the guy that we interviewed, he was a genuine guy.
Yeah.
Like a genuine guy telling us this. And then
he did not have anything to lose or gain by sharing what he shared with us. And that's what I thought was great. Is like, why would he lie? Why would he want us to drive 2.5 hours? And what is he getting out of this? Nothing. He didn't ask us for money. He didn't ask us for, once we go with this, can he get paid? None of that. It was like, hey, I'm here. I'm confident in my experiences. This is what happened to me. And if I can help somebody better understand what maybe happened to them, then so be it. This guy was great.
And he said, because you're a believer,
I'll talk.
I'll talk and make time for you. And so when we, like, for this example or any other type of investigation, we really don't approach it as a skeptic. I don't. I mean, I always approach it as, one, I want to hear your story, and I want to get it out there so that if others have because we were talking about this on the way home, if others all of a sudden listen to the story and they have a scar or it's something, it rings true to them, then it gets them talking, then it just starts a dialogue that I feel like a lot of people are possibly scared to share, because one, I mean, you don't know people's reaction. Like, I mean, he was like, he said, don't laugh at me when I tell it. And we would, I mean, we are so interested, like, that's not even in our realm, like, I mean, it's like, you could tell me anything right now, Rob, and I am on, like, the edge of my seat, and whatever you're saying, I'm going to believe. But then we always have a pretty good discussion after the fact. Like, all right, what did you think of this? Because it's always important for us not to be skeptics, but also like, all right, what can explain this? What, like, especially when you go Bigfoot hunting or a paranormal experience. Like, if you go into a house where somebody has said that the cabinets open and close, and then come to find out, well, the house is not level, that might, I mean, you can kind of semi-explain some things you can't. Some things are absolutely unexplained, and you put it in that column and you respect it, and then you approach it that way. Like this, on the way home, we felt so convicted. That's like, okay, he had nothing to lose. He shared his story with us. And it's really the first time he shared it with his, his close friends and stuff in the past. But it's like, it's such a powerful story, and I hope people will watch it. And then if anyone else has had a, kind of the same experience, please reach out to us. But honestly, the behind the scenes of that interview, I mean, the actual interview itself, you don't hear me talking in it because I'm in shock the whole time. I'm like, he's telling this and it all makes sense. And his story's like, it was consistent. He told us a couple of times. And then the way he described it in the end and kind of his beliefs about it, and that he believes in God, and that he, so it didn't make him question the existence, but it kind of made him question the order, and okay, well, maybe there's a version of this story that fits. And it's just so interesting to me. Yeah. And I want everybody to watch the video, but a little bit behind the scenes of that, after we left that, it's like one of those things where you build something up and then you've got to like come down a little bit. Like, no matter what we're doing, like whatever investigation or story or even a podcast or interview, like after we kind of just take a breath, you know, and so we go eat some lunch and we just, you know, answer emails, take a second, don't really talk about the experience, you know, because like you just kind of let it sink in. And then one of the fun things that we did was all of a sudden we were like, well, we were right down the road from the caverns, the Luray Caverns. And I was like, you want to go to the caverns? Let's go to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Eat some lunch. Do you want to go to the Luray Caverns? She's like, yeah, I'd love to go. So, but we did not come dressed for that.
No. So we hit up the Walmart and Woody bought a coat because we definitely have not had this winter that people talk about and not in Virginia. So it's about 60 degrees and we're like, it's going to be cold down there. So let's go get some socks. I didn't have on any socks and I just wasn't expecting anything. And so we go to Walmart. $60 later, we hit up the caverns and funny enough, we're in, you know, descent. We're going down and then we come into this entrance and all of a sudden it's like, you are kidding me, God. This is crazy. This is beautiful. And so my thoughts for the whole experience, and I can say this with complete joy and just gratitude for Robin, is that, you know, he kept saying stuff like, oh, you know, it might be why I'm so crazy. And I don't think he's crazy at all. I think he's confident. When you're confident, everybody thinks you're crazy. When you're confident that you saw Bigfoot, people think you're crazy.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely something that people who have had paranormal experiences don't want to even sometimes have them. You know, I didn't ask for the ones that I had. It wasn't like I went out searching for them. So in his case, he didn't ask to be abducted. And you certainly, I don't know who wants to volunteer for that category, because you're automatically signing up to get on the crazy train when you tell people, oh, I've seen an alien. Oh, I've seen a UFO. Oh, I've been abducted. I mean, that's the big one.
Yeah, they're like, did you really? And it's like, yeah, actually.
And you could lose friendships. You could lose relationships. You could lose trust with people that love and care about you. They look at you like, are you kidding? You know, why would you lie about that? And I think it's just so wonderful that we are now on a journey to understanding people's experiences. And now for me, coming to terms with these experiences in a healthy way has been exciting. And when we were in the caverns and we were sort of together and it was quiet and we're learning about the history and we're learning about why we see what we see. But here we are listening to a tour guide tell us that these caverns are 400 million years old. And in the same breath, you think, am I believing this because he's telling me it? Or am I believing this because I'm seeing it? Or why can't I just love these for who they are? Why can't I just look at these caverns and go, wow, God, you're awesome. And you can do things that, look at this. Look how alien this stalactite looks as it connects with the stalagmite. And it took 120 years for it to grow a cubic inch.
It's crazy to see.
It's all crazy.
It's alien.
Can we just sum it up that the entire universe is crazy?
It's so out there because, like, we go from interviewing a guy who has legitimately been abducted to going 16 stories below the earth and it looking like we're on an alien planet.
And yes, you're so right.
And it was such a wonderful, like, as a thing to kind of calm, because I as a filmmaker quotes, like, I get amped up to film, like, especially if it's something I'm truly into. Like, I get excited, right? So excited I forget and I skip, you know, I'm all over the place. After that, it was so refreshing. We went on, it was over a mile, actually, I think, underground.
Yeah, it was.
That we walked. And it was so great because you go from one thing and then we go onto the earth and we're seeing things that you can see it took a long time for, like, just an inch to be made, you know? But it's so foreign that a lot of people haven't seen. I think they say, 500,000 people come through the Luray Caverns every year.
Yep.
So, that I think that is one of the things I love so much about Hill City Paranormal. One, and I've said it before, are the stories that people tell. The stories that people have experienced and that they're opening up to us. And that all started from a Craigslist ad and a haunted hotline phone call of us going on that. And then just what most people won't know is that, we go interview him, and then we go down in these caverns, and we go to a Taco Bell, and then we spend the car ride home talking about it, and it was just a wonderful experience. And it's like, so I guess for me, I really appreciate, one, how genuine Robin was.
Yes.
And I hope he listens to this and just knows that he was so genuine and honest and true to himself. And I loved looking over the interview again before I posted it. And I had thought about adding a bunch of stuff to it, like recreations, everything. And then I was like, I just want to get it out there. And I want Robin's story to be heard by people that would appreciate it. So check it out. It's available on hillcityparanormal.com right there on the front. Also there's a tab that's, you'll see video interviews, and there will be an episode in the podcast about it. And watch it. And, if you have a story, let us know. Like, I have it right there on the website. You can contact us, or you can also share it on our phone. No one will pick up that number. You call if it's 2:00 in the morning. I promise you, you're not going to wake us up. You leave your story. Leave your story.
Yeah, nobody's going to answer. So
no one's going to answer. Don't feel like, hey, tell me your
up.
story. No, that's not going to happen. We want you to feel comfortable. So call us, tell us your story, and on some stories, I will then be sure to email you or contact you back somehow if we could do a follow-up interview, because what we don't want to happen, you're not forgotten to me, because I spend hours with your story. Like, so you leave it on the message, and I edit, add music. So I listen to your voice and story several times. So you're not forgotten. So call the number 434-381-0242. That is our haunted hotline, as I call it. Leave us your story. Or if you have a story and you want to actually talk to somebody, send me an email. We'll arrange a time. And, if you're in the realm of driving and we get good vibes from you, we will, we're always up for a good road trip, right? We'll go on another video interview.
Absolutely.
Especially people that are possibly near a beach next time, because we've been kind of craving that. So that would be, that would be kind of nice. Yeah.
So big thank you to Robin.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story, being brave enough to do that with two complete strangers. Thank you for introducing Rosetta Stone and Tool to my husband, who has now probably listened to it quite a few times.
And encouraging us to go see the caverns.
Yes.
That was a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad that we went up there. So, hillcityparanormal.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Be sure to check out our website at hillcityparanormal.com. And thank you for listening.